Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and in this video I want to show you my collection of historical mysteries written collaboratively by a group that call themselves the Medieval Murderers, which I think is awesome. So here's an example. So the Medieval Murderers are a small group of historical mystery writers, all members of the Crime Writers Association, who promote their work by giving informal talks and discussions at libraries, bookshops, and literary festivals. And so they have collaboratively written a number of historical mysteries, and I have 5 of them that I want to show you. And so they are: Simon Beaufort is the pseudonym under which Susanna Gregory writes her Sir Geoffrey Mapstone series of 12th century mysteries. So Susanna Gregory then is a member. So is Bernard Knight, a former Home Office pathologist and professor of forensic medicine who has been publishing novels, nonfiction, radio and television drama, and documentaries for more than 40 years. He currently writes the highly regarded Crowner John series of historical mysteries based on the first coroner for Devon in the 12th century. And I have a whole bunch of those. I really enjoy that series as well. Michael Jex is the author of the immensely popular Templar series, which I also have a lot of, also a really good series, all set during the confusion and terror of the reign of Edward II. And he was the chairman of the Crime Writers Association in 2004 and 2005. Ian Morrison is the author of the acclaimed series of historical mysteries featuring the 13th century Oxford-based detective William Faulkner, and I've just discovered that series, and I have the first one out from the library right now, actually. And then, of course, Susanna Gregory, which apparently is also a pseudonym. She writes the Matthew Bartholomew series of mystery novels set in 14th century Cambridge, and she also writes the Thomas Chalner series, which is set in London immediately following the Restoration, so early or mid 1600s. And then former schoolmaster Philip Goodin, who is the author of the Nick Revel series, a sequence of historical mysteries set in Elizabethan and Jacobean London during the time of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Now, I have not read those, but that sounds really interesting to me, and I would totally try to find those books. There is also another member who's going to show up here a little bit later is C.J. Sanson, who writes the Matthew Shardlake historical mysteries. So I love this idea that they have written collaboratively. So what they tend to do is find an object or a place to focus on, and then each author has a chapter in the story, and they aren't all like, it's not necessarily a story in a short space of time. It's often following this object through the years, and so different chapters will be sometimes hundreds of years apart, which I find really interesting. So here is an example. This is The Tainted Relic, 5 enthralling interlinked mysteries from Michael Jex, Susanna Gregory, Bernard Knight, Ian Morrison, and Philip Goodin, with a prologue by Simon Beaufort. So this was in 2005, and what I like here is they always do this at the beginning. So it says the program prologue, in which Simon Beaufort records dire events in Jerusalem in the 1100th year of our Lord. So first of all, the relic that they are talking about in the title is a supposedly fragment of the true cross allegedly stained with the blood of Christ. So in that prologue is probably the first time they get a hold of the relic. Act 1, in which Bernard Knight relates dark deeds in Exeter during the reign of Richard Coeur de Lion, so Richard the Lionheart. Act 2, in which Ian Morrison offers a labyrinthine tale of Oxford in the 13th century. Act 3, in which Michael Jex spins a web of intrigue in the county of Devon in the year 1323. And Act 4, in which Susanna Gregory recounts strange events in Cambridge in the middle of the 14th century. Act 5, in which Philip Goodin takes the stage in London at the time of William Shakespeare. and then epilogue, in which Bernard Knight comes up to modern times. So they don't always, but sometimes they will write with their own characters from the series that they normally write. So I just think that this is such a cool idea. So this is the earliest one that I have, the Tainted Relic from 2005. And then I have Sword of Shame from 2006. Again, 5 interlinked mysteries. Lovingly crafted by a Saxon swordsmith shortly before the Norman invasion, treachery and deceit are the Sword of Shame's constant companions. From the Norman conquest of 1066 to the murder of Thomas à Becket, from the attempted coup against Richard the Lionheart to the blood-stained Battle of Poitiers, at the heart of every treasonous plot, murder and betrayal lies the malign influence of the cursed sword. As it passes from owner to owner in this intriguing series of interlinked mysteries, ill fortune and disgrace befall all who wield its glittering but deadly blade. So in the prologue, in which Michael Jex tells of the creation of the sword and its first shameful use. Act 1, in which Bernard Knight's crowner John buys his officer a new sword but soon regrets his generosity. Act 2, in which Ian Morson relates Nick Zulani's deadly involvement in election fraud and murder in Venice in 1262. Act 3, in which Michael Jex keeper Sir Baldwin and bailiff Puttock learn how the sword could have been used in a martyrdom. Act 4, in which Susanna Gregory's Matthew Bartholomew and brother Michael are sent to the remote Cambridgeshire village of Ickleton to investigate why the manor is behind with its rent. They discover passions and tempers running high. Act 5, in which Philip Gooden's player Nick Revel arrives in a snowbound house to discover that even after several hundred years, the Sword of Shame can still wreak havoc and murder. And then epilogue, in which Ian Morson comes up to modern times. All right, then we have the Lost Prophecies from 2008. This is 6 interlinked mysteries. Michael Jex, C.J. Sansom, Bernard Knight, Susanna Gregory, Ian Morson, and Philip Gooden. A mysterious book of prophecies written by a 6th century Irish monk has puzzled scholars through the ages. Foretelling wars, plagues, and rebellions, the Black Book of Bran is said to have predicted the Black Death and the Gunpowder Plot. It is even said to foresee the Day of Judgment, but is it the result of divine inspiration or the ravings of a madman? A hidden hoard of Saxon gold, a poisoned priest, a monk skinned alive in Westminster Abbey. Only one thing is certain: whoever comes into possession of the cursed book meets a gruesome and untimely death. And then we have King Arthur's Bones from 2009. This begins at Glastonbury Abbey in 1191. During excavation work, an ancient leaden cross is discovered buried several feet below ground. Inscribed upon it are the words Hic Easet Septulus Ictus Rex Arturius. I don't speak Latin, so I hope that was okay. Here lies buried the renowned King Arthur. Beneath the cross are skeletal remains. Could this really be the legendary King Arthur and his queen Guinevere? As the monks debate the implications of this extraordinary discovery, the bones themselves disappear, spirited away by the mysterious guardians, determined to protect the king until the ancient legend is fulfilled and he returns to defend his country in the hour of its greatest need. So, like with the other books, each author takes a chapter and tells the story of a King Arthur's bones. And then finally, we have Hill of Bones from 2011. On Salisbury Hill, only those who are pure in heart can survive a night when the moon is full. Bath Abbey, 1199. The monk's peaceful existence is turned upside down when the abbey's unpopular prior is found dead on Salisbury Hill. But when Sir Simon Cole and his wife Gwenllian arrive to investigate, they soon hear whispers that the prior has met with divine punishment. So this one In the prologue, Philip Gooden relates how two young brothers from Somerset travel to join King Arthur's forces in a final battle against the Saxon invaders. In Act 1, Susanna Gregory describes how Sir Simon Cole and his wife Gwenllian are ordered by King John to investigate the suspicious death of Bath Abbey's unpopular prior, so that's 1199. Act 2, in which Bernard Knight records how treasures from Bath Abbey are stolen and how a cat catcher and a royal steward help a luckless lay brother to avoid a hanging. That is 1204. And then Act 3, in which Karen Maitland tells how the mysterious survivor of a shipwreck flees to Salisbury Hill to escape his nemesis, only to find himself unwittingly embroiled in a plot of treachery and treason. That's 1453. And then Act 4, in which Philip Gooden recounts how Nick Revel arrives in Bath with the touring players and swiftly finds himself persuaded to impersonate a dying man's son and comes into possession of a dangerous secret. And that's during the time of Shakespeare, so late 1500s, early 1600s. Act 5, in which Ian Morrison describes how Joe Malaferno and his companion Doll Pocket find themselves in Bath, escaping Joe's dalliance with the Caddo Street conspirators. Unfortunately, the threads of radical agitation follow them, and they are faced with solving a murder which casts a shadow over a very senior member of the royal family. And then the epilogue, in which Bernard Knight reveals an unexpected ending when police and archaeologists investigate the top of Salisbury Hill. So there you have it. That is my collection by the Medieval Murderers. Do you enjoy historical mysteries? Do you enjoy medieval historical mysteries? Then you might like to check out The Medieval Murderers. There are a few more. These are the ones that I have. So, have you read any of these books? Have you read anything by The Medieval Murderers? I would love to chat with you about them in the comment section down below. Let's also talk about collaborative novels, because I think that's a fascinating thing, and it's interesting to see how various people work together. So let's chat about that. Have you read any collaborative novels? I would love to know what you thought about them. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.